Hi, folks. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about, and I'm just looking at the counter here. Is the seconds on the live counter are jumping around in 10, 12-second blocks here. I'd like to talk about what the fuck am I talking about? Lost my train of thought. I'd like to talk about the erasing of white people from history, and this is sort of going apace. Now, I noticed this actually some years ago when it was sort of just starting, but I've said to myself that I'm just sort of imagining this, and it's just a couple of odd incidences here and there. And now, quite apart from trashing white people in history, the first sort of thing I noticed was we had, this is at this place where I was working. We had some people coming in working over like the university sort of holidays, and they were doing various jobs around the place. And one of the people who was hired by the HR department, by the way, one of the people who was hired to do some, if you like, filing. I'll simplify a bit, but she was hired to do filing, and she was turns out she was a gender studies student. Now, I didn't really know much about, or really anything about gender studies back in the day, but she was actually a straight girl, but not a lesbian, which I later found was fairly rare. But she was doing gender studies, and she would always regale me with stories about how all these great white people in history, they were either gay or lesbian, or it wasn't really the guy that did the invention or invented the thing. It was really his black lesbian housekeeper really did it. And so there wasn't a single person in history, white history, who actually was worth any reverence at all. They were all evil and bad, and they all either didn't invent something, or if they did invent it, they were really black lesbians anyway, secretly hiding out. So not a single straight white male was left standing as a result. And I was quite amazed by this, because it was insane, and it was quite clearly propaganda. She quite clearly believed it, and also reveled in it. The whole society of straight white male authority is absolutely being torn to pieces. None of these straight white males either did these things or are worthy of respect and reverence. And again, she liked this. Now, I wouldn't say she was bad at her job. She did the filing okay. She seemed completely unable to get on with people. I think she had Asperger's or something like that. And she didn't need to get on with people. All she needed to do was do the filing. In fact, the only person she really interacted with a lot was me. And I didn't have that much to do with it. But I noticed that all I had to do was, when I saw her in the morning, say, "Oh, good morning." I can't remember her name now. Good morning, so and so, and that's it. Oh, did you know that Isaac Newton was really a gay black lesbian? And she was, unprovoked and uninvited, she would launch into a diet. She seemed that 2 or 3 times a day she had to smash some white male icon to pieces and let make sure that I understood it, and this was her job. Her job was to convert me into the ways of gender studies thinking. Fortunately, she was only there for 6 weeks, but that was kind of one of my earlier exposures to this sort of thing. Now, so firstly, they tried to destroy the history or trash it, but lately, or more recently, they've decided to stop trashing it. Well, they trash them, but to replace them. So I think what is going to happen in the coming decades, certainly on the current trajectory, is that white people will be erased from all history. Charles Darwin, Isaac Newton, Edison, or, the Wright brothers. I mean, it doesn't matter. White people, and the most prestigious white people, and the most highest achieving white people, and the white people that should be revered, they're all going to be gone. And I think that's gathering a pace. Now, the globalist sort of activist cabal, they started with going after novels and so on. So, iconic stories, and you see this with Disney and really all the globalist cabal type information distribution organizations, is they went after the fairy tales, the stories. Snow White, and Snow White is now a black lesbian, and she's a feminist. She don't need no man. And Prince Charming, in reality, is a Nazi or something. And they're just rewriting all that. And if you look at Jane Austen's novels, Pride and the Prejudice, or even going after things like Doctor Who. Doctor Who's a lesbian and everything. And just the insanity of all these sort of things. But the sole purpose is to tear down and destroy white icons. Any white icon, any revered character in history must be trashed and or erased. And that's really what's going on. And I think that's gathering a pace now. If you look at, say, productions of semi-historical type dramas, Isaac Newton, for example, in a recent British drama, is now Indian. And other people, royal families of generations gone by are now black, or they're lesbian, or they're gay lesbians, or and this sort of thing. So it's all being. So I think that if we look at the rate at which white characters are being removed, Christopher Columbus statues pulled down, and Theodore Roosevelt, the president. I think around 1900, the president of the United States, and quite somebody who's known for his accomplishments and achievements, not simply in the political sphere, but outside of it. And statues are being removed. So any iconic and revered figure in white history must be erased. Now, I'm sure the evil characters of white history, and no one's going to erase Hitler, for example, or those sort of things. They're needed. They're needed for the propaganda value to shame and blame white people. But anything that makes white people look good, whether it be in science or medicine or politics or anything, has to be, literature has to be removed and trashed. Straight white males first, but they'll move down. Eventually, they'll come to straight white women, and they'll remove them, and so on. In fact, that's already started. So how long will this process take? Well, given the current sort of trajectory, again, assuming that the current situation continues and indeed expands, I'd say within 35 to 45 years, there won't be a single white iconic person left in history. All history will be rewritten to either be utterly defamatory, or to if they are reverential, to be replaced with a brown or a black person or a lesbian or something like that. Some minority group will be inserted in there, and the actual person taken out, and then various other fabrications of history around that individual in order to sort of justify the erasure that has been undertaken. So that now, if you look at, say, Soviet history, so the communist history, they take the view that from the time they seized control of government, that was kind of year one. This is the new world order. This is it. So whatever went before, we will sort of cherry pick it heavily to eliminate people who we don't like. So they would systematically go about that. Some people are allowed to remain. Some of the Russian novelists, Tolstoy or something, they were allowed to stay in existence, but many other people were erased. And they even went to the point where photographs of, say, Comrade Stalin, the brutal murderous dictator, and they would cut people out of the photographs that Stalin no longer liked, or had been killed, or were to be in prison somewhere, political prisoners. And it's all ideological, of course, but the idea is to constantly freshen history up, not with facts or reality, but with further fabrications of propaganda. So I'd say in the next 3 to 4 decades, certainly within 50 years, based on current things, that all white history will be erased. There won't be a single white character in positive, as in a high achieving, virtuous. There won't be a single white character in history left, and it'll all be part of the globalist project and all part of the project to crush white people and remove them as an obstacle to the globalist project. You've been with Tassus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.